Welcome once again to the Brotherly Advice podcast. My name is Kobna Ifriye Akotobanfo. If you are new to this channel, I'll urge you to subscribe. That's the best way you get to support what we do. And if you are returning, if you are not new to this channel, thank you for spending your time with us. Our conversation today promises to be very interactive and very educative. My guest today is a practicing doctor all the way from Ethiopia, but who is currently back into the classroom to study global health because he wants to have a systemic level change in the healthcare industry. My guest today is Amanuel Abesha. I'm not going to talk much about him because I want him to say much about himself. So if you are here today, we're going to learn about his journey, coming all the way from Ethiopia, studying here in America, and what he looks forward to doing right after school. So stick and stay with me as we go through this conversation. Amanuel, you're welcome to the Brotherly Advice podcast.
Thank you, Kobe, for providing me the chance to express myself. I'm really glad you gave me the chance to introduce about myself and talk about my experience.
It's actually an honor because I know you're a very busy person.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the time of the semester and everything, you've been able to make time for this, and I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We're going to get right into the conversation, and before we talk about you being a doctor, why you left the hospital to get back into the classroom, how it's going and everything, I want us to get into the introduction of the whole thing. Who is Amanuel Abesha? I want you to tell me about yourself.
All right. Thank you for again for giving me the chance to introduce myself. My name is Amanuel Abesha, and I am from Ethiopia, a country located in East Africa. And I was there as a medical doctor. I was working in 3 different sites back home in Ethiopia as a medical doctor, from the most rural area of the country to one of the most top national referral hospitals in Ethiopia, namely Alert Hospital. It is National Referral Center. So I was working as general practitioner, and I had a chance to see the gaps and the problems that healthcare or industries in the healthcare are facing, in particular during those times, and I want to address those gaps and bring change. That change should be systematic level change. I want to act at systemic level. That's why I want to see the international exposure and come here at Brandeis University, and currently I am pursuing Master Science in Global Health Policy and Management.
Wow, that is great. I mean, so it looks as if you want a systematic change on a large scale basis, which is very helpful. And before we even go much into that conversation, I wanted to tell me a little bit about how it was like growing up in Ethiopia.
Growing up in Ethiopia, it is a warm community. Back home in Ethiopia, we had a lot of social life. Social life has more meaning in Ethiopia because growing up in such culture, it is really a pleasure. You have peoples who look for your back, who help you, and kind of support each other. So back home, I grew in one of the rural area in Ethiopia. And I used to spend almost until I was grade 12, I used to spend there. So Ethiopian community, I can express shortly, it is a community where you love, where we play, where we support each other. So that's the community in Ethiopia. And until I joined the medical journey, so I spent almost 7 or 8 years in studying medicine. So it's kind of a community where you find yourself support and gathering.
That's great. I mean, I'm really impressed about that. And I mean, Ethiopia is the Horn of Africa, right? Like we rightly say, the Horn of Africa. And my next question is, growing up, we all wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, a pilot, and you succeeded in being a doctor,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
My question is, how was it like being a doctor? Or how is it like? I mean, you're still a doctor. You're just not practicing now because you're in school.
Yeah.
But how is it like being a doctor? And what about the job do you love the most?
So being a medical doctor requires passion.
Right.
You need to be a hard work person.
Tell me about it.
So most people who join medicine are hard worker. Not only when they join medicine, but they were hard workers since they were like grade 1. They were
Right.
committed, studying consistently. They participate in volunteer activities in their community.
Right.
They're kind of extracurricular students. So being as one of the medical doctor in Ethiopia, it was a pleasure to me because, you know, when you help people, there is some satisfaction coming from people's. You see people's reaction, people's
Right.
response. We were working at the most vulnerable time, including the coronavirus pandemic time,
Yeah,
where everybody is
yeah.
in home, everybody is hiding, but we, the health professional, are at the forefront. So there is nothing that you can get like in terms of money or in terms of some kind of material gain. Rather, the satisfaction comes from when people put all trust in you. They trust in you at their most vulnerable positions.
Right.
So they trust in their lives.
Right.
So what kind of more thing are you expecting than people trusting you in their lives? So that kind of thing puts you some kind of responsibility as well. But
Right.
that's what doctors are doing currently. They are passionate, they are helping people. So back home, while working as a medical doctor, that's the thing that makes me most satisfied. So that's the thing I carry in my back.
That is great. That is great. So, I mean, listening to what you're saying, it's not even about the money that comes with it. Because growing up, I was always under the impression that doctors make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Pilots make a lot of money. Lawyers make a lot of money. But then me talking to one right now makes me understand that it's not even the satisfaction that this whole profession brings. It's not the fact that you get even paid out of it, but the fact that people rely on you with their lives, they're in their most vulnerable states, looking at you that you're going to help them get better or get well. And the fact that you are able to come through and help them gives you that much joy and satisfaction. That is really great. That is such a humanitarian
Of course.
work, I would say.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is, you know, you're a practicing doctor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you find yourself back in class.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not too sure about the timelines when it's, in medical school in Ethiopia, but I know it takes a long time.
Yes.
And now you get into the medical field. I mean, you're in the hospital, and all of a sudden you have to pause and then come back to the classroom. How does it feel like getting back into the classroom to learn again, and then go back to the hospital?
Yeah, such kind of transitions requires humility,
Right.
and dedication. To be honest, you were working as a medical doctor, sitting in office, treating patients, and trying to look the problems and address the problem of the patients. But out of a sudden, you become a student. Oh, this transition is somehow challenging. But what am I thinking is my future plan, what I intend to contribute to my country, to the global as well. So it was a bit challenging, of course, but as a medical doctor, I was trying to see the challenges. I tried to see the gaps. So I was working in most remote area of the country to one of the capital area of the country. So I can say I have the first withstand those challenges. So those things makes me to discover more, to address the gaps, and see how I can contribute to my country. I believe if I work as a medical doctor just sitting in one office, I can fix 20 to 30 patients' problem. What if I study at global health level? What if I study gaps that insurance are making, in the health insurances are making?
Right.
What if I see the gaps that non-government organization and government organizations are doing? What is the gap in Ministry of Health? So where should we seek reform? Where should we seek challenges those policy analysis levels? So at that time, you can address thousands and hundred thousands so that you can make a bigger impact. So I think that motivates me to do even more, to face the challenge, to transition into again a student and elaborate further.
So in my understanding, it is more about bigger impact.
Of course.
Because you're coming back to school so you can actually study more and to impact more, which is, I think, in my opinion, is really a really great thing to even think about and to pursue.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm really happy you are in pursuit of that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm wishing you all the best.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people travel to America,
Yeah.
to school, to build a life, I mean, to start all over, to figure things out and everything. A lot of people back home, people watching us, would all want to come to America. You know, they say it's a land of opportunities. You know, people want to live the American dreams. I want you to tell me, in your opinion, what is it about this journey, or your journey, that a lot of people don't understand or do not get to see?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Thank you. So, America is home to the most toply renowned public health schools.
Right.
As we speak, more than any other country, America is home to these public health schools.
Right.
And as a student, any student who want to pursue their education journey in the United States of America should think that this, of course, it is a land of opportunity. You have very, very well-educated professors, laboratories, and cut-edge research opportunities. So I think they should get that. They should use that opportunity. Of course, they have to do their best to get such opportunity, and they should think that whenever they think to come to the United States of America and to pursue their journey, it is possible, because they can achieve their dreams. They can come and leverage what they can contribute to their country. So I can say it is the misconceptions, like those things should be avoided rather than just focusing on simple terms. So I can say they can come and pursue their journey.
Right. So do you think, in your opinion, do you think it was a good decision you made to come to the States to study?
Yes, because what you can gain here in the United States is you can have systemic level exposure. You can have cut-edge research. You can have scientific laboratories. You can have a well opportunities so that you can expand your horizon. You kind of like interact with a lot of professors. So it is an opportunity that you can get and expand your knowledge, and you can use that to bring that change to your country. So it's kind of, you can leverage what you can get from here. So with that spoken, I can say it is the right decision to come here and pursue their journey and even contribute more to their country.
All right. Now that leads me to my next question, right? Okay. So was there ever a time, right, that you had to ask yourself, question yourself, Amanuel, wait. Am I doing the right thing? Was it the right decision? You know, because I think we haven't really talked about the challenges, but I'm sure you've encountered a few challenges. And was there a time when you asked if it was really a wise decision to pause what you were doing, saving humanity, and coming down in the pursuit of doing something bigger or getting a bigger impact? Was there ever a time where you questioned if it was the right decision?
Of course I do. There were times that, am I doing the right thing? I keep asking myself, especially 1 or 2 times I remember, I sat down somewhere and asked myself, am I doing the right thing? Because especially for students come from abroad or from any other international country, they are transitioning into new environment, into new system than they were used to be. So the culture is new, the weather is new. You know, like for the past 5 months, it was winter. It's very cold, like you are facing snow, you are fighting with the snow and with the weather. So everything is new. So you need to adapt yourself to this new environment, and transitioning to this new environment is a bit challenging. I think there were times that I keep questioning myself, am I doing the right thing? But eventually when I remind myself that what I am able to do in the future, how am I important to my country, with the knowledge that I gained from Brandeis University, which is one of the top 9 schools in social policy and management, that keeps me energetic and even move forward.
You feel like you're at the right place at the right time.
Of course.
And that is enough motivation to keep you going.
Yeah,
regardless.
Definitely.
That is great. I'm really enjoying this conversation so far, but I'm going to pause here for a second. All right, so family, if you are enjoying the conversation as much as we are, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel, the Brotherly Advice Podcast. Like I said earlier, this is the best way you get to support what we are doing. And if you're a returning member, you're a family member already, thanks for spending your time with us. Share this with a brother or a sister who needs to see this, and drop a comment about what you think about this episode. Now we get into the conversation again. Amanuel, so the next question I have is, so to any international students, right, out there, or any aspiring international student coming in, having the hopes and dreams of coming to America, to school, what is that one piece of advice you give them from you being in the system already?
Yeah, I need to give advice for them. Don't to be frustrated by what they are really looking or what their circumstance is putting on them. Because applying for scholarship, it requires at least like 6 or 7 months of your time. So you don't have to give up or frustrated by what you are seeing or by what you are hearing. You know, these times students are scared of the visa processes. A lot of things happening right now demotivated them to apply. So instead of like overwhelmed by what they are listening, what they are hearing, they have to keep focusing, and they have to be aware of the application seasons. Usually, for example, if they plan to come to in the coming fall, they have to start applying in the previous fall. For the next fall admission, like if you are planning to apply for 2026, you should start your work 2025. So like the whole scholarship process takes like 7 to 8 months time. So it requires kind of persistence, dedication, and motivation, and being persistent. So they can easily apply. Scholarships are every time open. They can log into the university of their choices, apply to the sites. They have to keep their email like open anytime. They should log into email. They should follow the processes, the application steps. The admission officers always communicate with email. So especially for international students, the problem that I usually look or I usually like hear is like they are not using email as their primary source of like kind of communication means.
Right,
so they
right.
should keep their email open. So I think there is nothing that is challenging as long as they are motivated, as long as they are really willing to learn. So one brotherly advice I can say for them is don't give up, always look for good opportunities, try to apply, being alert and being consistent.
All right, that is a really good advice. Yeah. That's a really good advice. Yeah. And you mentioned something about the emails not being the main form of communication. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think back home, I can say from my side, all right, back home we really have a bad email culture.
Yeah.
Where you have to send someone an email and call them and say that, hey, I sent you an email, so please check it before they go and attend to the email. Yeah. I mean, me getting into grad school now made me very prompt on my emails, because back before grad school, I didn't really care about emails. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really a main form of communication. But when you get into grad school, you realize that is the main form of communication. You can be talking to your professor one-on-one every day, but then it's actually the best to send him an email, and then you keep things on record. Yeah. Now, you mentioned one thing when you were talking about, I mean, the advice you just gave. You spoke about scholarship. Yeah. I want to know how easy or how hard it is for an international student to get a scholarship into the US to study. Maybe you can use Brandeis or Hella School as an example, or if you know anything else, you can also broaden it.
Yeah. The good thing, most US universities understand the financial circumstances, especially from third world countries, including Africa. Right. So when students try to apply for scholarship, they should do a quick research on the universities. That there are certain set of universities, generous universities like Brandeis University, that give significant amount of scholarships. What matters, there is information gap. Actually, African students or students abroad, what matters most is digging into the information and getting the right university which gives them significant amount of scholarship. So far, I have already previously applied for a lot of universities and they have given me a lot of scholarship, but I choose Brandeis due to like 70% scholarship and with my future plan. So what I'm going to say right now is they have to do a little search and find the university they can apply that align with their undergraduate degree, with their background, and if they choose the right university, the right time, I can say you most of them will give a scholarship, especially for students applying abroad. So what I can say in short is like they should find the right university and apply for, and without any doubt, they can secure a scholarship.
And they have to apply it on time. I mean,
exactly, I think on timely manner, because
yes.
you know most universities, especially there is a difference between admission and scholarship. So I faced a lot of students who got admission, but they didn't secure scholarship. The transition between scholarship and admission is the time or the deadline. So most of the time application acceptance or scholarship is on rolling basis. If you apply earlier, you have the highly likely of securing scholarship than the one who apply late. So what
Right.
matters most is being informed, staying alert and vigilant, and applying on timely basis. That's what
Right.
I can advise for them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So time is of the essence when it comes
Definitely,
to
definitely.
when it comes to both applying for the school
Yes.
and also applying for the scholarship as well.
Yeah,
Now, from your experience and,
Yeah.
and from your journey,
yeah.
what is that one life lesson you have learned outside of school? School didn't teach you, but then
Yeah.
you had to learn it
Yeah,
on your own
of course.
through your life journey.
Yeah, I live outside campus.
Right.
So I kind of has the chance to be exposed to the environment, to the neighborhood, to the living style, to communities here in the US. So I can say like, as international students, we are required to network with whatever people we are meeting because network is crucial.
Yeah,
Networking is
network
very
is
important,
very important,
because
yeah.
the more you know people's, the more you get the chance to land in different opportunities. So I can say your network is your networks. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, your net. No, because I think I heard it
Yeah.
recently. Your network
Yeah.
is your net worth.
Exactly.
Because the number, the value of your network
Yes.
determines your net worth.
Of
Because
course, yeah.
your network actually also equals or
Yeah.
equates to
Yeah.
your opportunities that you have.
Of course, you
out
know.
there.
So like when you come to the United States of America, for example, English it might not be your primary language.
Right.
So you have to adapt to speak in English. You have to adapt to live here different lifestyle than you used to live back home in your country.
Right.
So some students might face culture shock. So in order to avoid such kind of negative impacts, they should always keep themselves motivated, try to communicate as many people as they can.
Right.
So by the time they will eventually find good opportunities ahead.
Right. Now, that is really important to
Yeah.
also note that, you know, as international students, you know, English might not be our
Yeah.
first language,
Of course.
as it is here in America.
Of course.
You know, and it might be a challenge. People might say, "Man, I don't speak
Yeah.
fluent English as the Americans do.
Yeah.
So I don't think coming here is
Good
a
choice.
good fit for me, or
Of
it's a good
course,
choice
yeah,
for me."
yeah,
But
yeah.
in your opinion, do you think if someone has that mindset, it's a good mindset to have, or you think they should overcome that mindset and still take the chance and move in here to study?
Definitely, I suggest that they should overcome this mindset because I believe a student who secures scholarship can do a lot of things. They
Right.
have been so far in their life.
Right.
They have been doing great things in their life. They are not here unless they achieve or unless they overcome a lot of difficulties and obstacles back home in their country.
Very
So
true.
given that this life experience, they can even do more with what they have. So I suggest like to come to explore, to overcome those challenges and even to do more and to succeed their life.
Now, you know, in our conversation, we've talked about impact.
Yes.
I mean, that's mainly why you have even moved
Yeah.
from Ethiopia down here
Yeah.
to study on a global scale level and then have a bigger impact.
Yeah.
Now, in the next few years,
Yeah.
in the near future,
Yeah.
what do you want your journey or your work, what kind of impact do you want it to have on people and communities?
Thank you. That's a good question because all my life I believe in creating a difference. I believe one man can make a difference. You know, here in the United States, you see a lot of peoples who significantly influence the healthcare industry.
Right.
Not only in the United States, you can see in Europe, in Canada, all other countries. So what matters most is using your knowledge and using that as a tool to contribute change to your country. So as I want to be a policy reformer, I want to make an impact in my country, in Ethiopia, and at systematic level, as well as in Africa, to make our country land of opportunity and full of prosperity. So to do that, I'm always energizing myself. I'm always trying to grow and to capture a lot of opportunity as much as I can and use that to leverage to strengthen the health system of my country. Working as in urban and rural population of my country, I see the gap. So I want to address that gap. I want to collaborate with non-profit and profit organizations that are specifically focused on health industry, so that I can make a bigger impact in my country. That's where I believe I will see myself in 3 or 4 years, creating a bigger impact so that I can achieve my dream. Yeah.
That is beautiful, and I really hope that actually comes true, because when it does, it's going to save a lot of people.
Yes.
And even expand communities based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm curious. I want to ask this: do you think, or do you believe that, with your year spent here in Brandeis University learning global health, do you think it has contributed, or it's contributing to the impact you seek to achieve?
Definitely, because I am here taking the courses with most notable professors, including Donald Shepard, which are known Professor Nanda Kumar, a lot of well-known professors who have an impact at international level. So getting knowledge and course from such notable professors is empowering me with a lot of knowledge and resources, so that I can ultimately, at the future, I will leverage this knowledge to bring change to systemic level in my country. Because right now I'm seeing gaps. I'm doing a lot of courses. Those courses empower me on how to health data, and all those health infrastructures are related. So I want to intersect and bring systemic level change with the knowledge I'm gaining at Brandeis University, and I'm really grateful for that.
So I'm guessing so far so good.
Yeah, of course,
So
definitely.
far so good.
Of course.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now this part of the conversation is what I call flip the mic, right?
Okay.
Now flip the mic is where I have been the host asking you all the questions.
Yeah.
Right. Now you get a chance to ask me a question.
Okay.
Now you become the host for a second.
All right.
And then I become the guest. So it can be related to what we are talking about, the conversation, or off topic, anything you want to know, anything you are curious about, you can ask me. So you go ahead and ask me one question.
All right. Thank you for the chance and for flipping the mic and to ask you in my turn. So one question I believe I should ask you is, what is the one thing or the one mindset you think that changed your life, or you think that is the right decision that you made in your life? Could you please explain that?
So I think, wow, this is a very good question. Okay. No one has asked me this question before, and I think I might need a second to think about it. But what comes into mind immediately is the hunger I've always had in me. So, I read a book called the 10X Mentor, where it talks about the fact that you need to be like a hungry dog chasing a meat track. So the meat track is moving, and you are the hungry dog who is chasing after this track with the assumption or with the hope that if I should chase this track, I can jump into this track and get the meat.
Yeah.
So I've always had this zeal and hunger in me that if I'm able to keep moving, if I'm able to always take one step at a time, no excuses, no room for laziness, I'll be able to get closer and closer to the meat track. Now, mind you, this meat track that we are talking about, it's not stable, it's not stationary.
It's moving.
It's moving.
Wow.
So you have to chase it until you are able to get hold of it.
Consistently.
So consistently you have to move and move. Yeah, you get tired. It's not going to be an easy drive. It's not going to be an easy run. But you have to keep moving and moving and moving and chasing until you get it. So with this mindset, I've always said to myself that there's always an opportunity ahead of us. And you'll be able to grab it if you keep moving. Now, when you talk about moving, that's figurative. We're talking about staying consistent with what's working, networking with the right people, being in the right communities, being at the right place at the right time, reading the right materials, being open-minded to learn new things, and all of that. Now, with these things, you expand your horizon, you expand how you think, you expand how you know things, and you get to be able to move forward. So that is how you move. Now, compare someone doing this to someone who is also sitting down with their arms folded, doing nothing, waiting for opportunity to fall on their lap. you are likely not to get anything. But the one who is doing all of these things, even though things look like it's not happening, is always a step closer to the meat track more than you who is sitting down in your comfort zone and doing nothing. So I always have that mentality that there's a meat truck ahead of me and I'm the hungry dog.
Yeah.
The meat truck driver doesn't care about me.
Wow.
He's going to move
Yeah.
until I double up my speed to catch it. Right? So I always have that mentality. It's the hunger in me that keeps me moving. It's the hunger in me that's keeping me doing this brotherly advice podcast, so that whether I get low turnouts in terms of subscriptions, in terms of likes, in terms of views, I'm still going to do it because it's all part of the beginning journey that I just talked about. It's going to be hard at the beginning, but at the end of the day, you still have the chance to get better and bigger. You understand?
Thank you. So I'm also motivated by what you are telling me, and
I'm
this
happy.
prompted me to ask one more question. If that's
now
okay.
you are changing the rules. No problem. Let me listen to
So
you.
maybe one last question. So
Right.
so far you are posting TikToks and YouTubes.
Right.
So have you ever encountered people's that they watched your video and witnessed that they are really doing great things in their life after looking your podcast or your TikTok videos?
Yes, so thank you so much for this question. And yes, I do that. I do get that on a regular basis, you know, and that is why I kind of believe that this thing I'm doing now, even though it's on a very small scale and a very tiny level, it's impacting a lot of lives. So it's like you saying that a lot of people or a lot of your patients rely on you, and they are expecting you to help them even in their most vulnerable stages. That is how I also feel. And I feel like every day when I wake up and I decide, because it gets tiring sometimes. There are times, you know, all the work that goes. I mean, it took us about an hour and a half, even 2 hours to set up this whole studio, a very tiny studio. There are times when I don't want to do it. There are times when I don't want to post any TikTok. There are times when I don't want to post anything at all and just stay in my comfort zone. But then again, someone text that says, "Thank you for posting this video. It really changed my mind."
Wow.
There was one time I got a text from, I don't know, and mostly the thing is, 99.9% of the people who follow me are people that I don't know. So for someone who you don't know, you've never had an encounter with, no conversation with, to come in and say, "Hey, your video changed my life. Your video helped me. Thank you for this video. It really helped me." It is that satisfaction that keeps me going. It's like, okay, so I guess this thing is not about me anymore. It's about people.
Yes.
And now when people are looking at you, you can't mess up. I mean, you don't relax, because now people are depending on what you give to make them better. And I also am of the belief that we rise by raising others up. I become better by instilling or pouring into others and making them better. You know, so it's been a tough journey, but then I'm happy that the little effort that I'm putting in so far has been able to change lives, has been able to speak to people. I mean, if nothing at all, I know that if I post every post that I make, it speaks to one person. If I post 300 videos in a year, that means I've spoken to 300 people, which is to me, I feel like it's a big impact and blessing on its own. So I do not take this thing for granted at all. It's something that I always say that I'm just being God's obedient servant, and I'm just being a messenger carrying his message to the people.
That's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, so we are almost ending the conversation. I really like this conversation so much. But before we end the conversation, there's this part of this conversation where I call this or that. Now, this or that is me asking you I'm giving you two options of just some few questions, and then you choose between one of them.
Okay.
Now, if you're ready, you just let me know.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, sure. All right, so the first question is, Ethiopian weather or American weather?
Ethiopian weather, definitely. We have 30 months of sunshine.
Well, I guess, so how is it like? Do you have winter and summer and
Yeah, we have
fall?
all seasons, but at the same time, since we are located near equator,
Right.
there is a certain month sunshine. So all the time you can see the sun and the weather is not bad. It's very comfortable.
It's same in Ghana. In Ghana, it's either raining or shining.
Exactly.
And it has. I think Ghana has the best weather in West Africa.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So the next question is: life as a doctor or life as a student?
Oh, this is a tough question.
Right.
But I can say from satisfaction level, life as a doctor.
From satisfaction.
That is what I pick.
Right.
Yeah,
that is good. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, from the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
People trust you in their lives.
Right.
You are doing great things. I think that's a good thing.
Right. So the next one is: live the rest of your life in America, or live the rest of your life in Ethiopia.
That's kind of tough question because I have tasks to do here in the United States of America. I am here for purpose.
Right.
And my purpose might be not fully filled at this year.
Right.
So eventually, after I'm done with my long-term plans,
Right.
I envision to go to Ethiopia and bring change. Well, that's what I'm seeking for so far.
Right. So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
do you choose to live the rest of your life here in America, or live the rest of your life back home in?
I prefer to choose in my country. Yeah.
Right. Home,
Yeah.
home,
is
sweet home.
Home is home.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this is quite fun. The next one is quite fun. Would you rather choose Teddy Afro or Mahmoud Ahmed?
I think Afro is good.
Teddy Afro.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I think I love Teddy Afro.
Yeah, most people
Yeah.
love
I
Teddy
love
Afro. And
Teddy
he's 90s musician. So,
Yeah.
So 90s,
Also,
I think
he's
is
like the oldies.
the oldest goodies. I know that Mahmoud is also the oldest, but he
Yeah.
was like before 90s. But I think 90s was a time where the music industry exploded in Ethiopia
Right.
with new kind of music styles
Right.
and vibes. And I kind of like, when you ask everybody, as I say, like 90s is like untouchable.
Yeah.
It's the golden era. So
Right.
maybe. due
So
to
does
the-
Teddy Afro still make music?
Yeah.
He's still-
He's still making music.
Right.
He's still producing a lot of things and doing a lot of things, but Teddy Afro is kind of like he's a 90s person.
Right. So
yeah.
they are a whole new crop of artists.
Of course,
now.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think back in Ghana, I used to watch his videos on YouTube where he has like massive people, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they all sing his song word for word.
Yeah, all
And he
word
has
for
nice
word.
songs. I mean, I sing his songs too, and I don't understand what he's saying.
Yeah,
but he has really
yeah.
beautiful voice.
Music is actually a universal language.
I
You don't
believe
have
that.
to understand every single lyrics.
Exactly.
So people communicate with frequencies, vibes, and the
That is
beats.
very true.
Yeah, that's the secret of music.
That is very true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Right. The next question is, all right, own a mansion in Addis Ababa or own a mansion in New York?
I kind of say, if I'm a bit selfish, I will own a mansion in New York and sell it and build a lot of mansions
Well,
in
you can't,
Ethiopia.
you can't be selfish. Yeah.
I can't be selfish.
You can choose just one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think own mansion in New York is
In New York, right?
Yeah, of
But I would
course.
choose Addis Ababa. I hear Addis Ababa is really beautiful.
it's getting beautiful, but owning mansion in New York, that's something.
well.
That's a big elephant.
Well, that is.
Yeah.
Right, the next one is practical experience,
Yeah.
right? Or academic research.
Oh, I love academic research.
Right.
I'm always a person who want to bring solution.
Right.
Back home, when I was kid, I heard a lot of diseases like HIV/AIDS, diabetes mellitus, a lot of cancer patients. I want to do research and bring solution in those areas because
Right.
if until now there is no permanent cure for those diseases.
True.
So if there is something I can make an impact, I am there. I'm ready to bring an impact. So academic research helps you to figure the problem
Right.
and address the solution.
Right, that is
so I
true.
think, yeah.
That is very true.
Of course.
Now, this is the last one, all right?
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean. But then this is the last one. Leading from the front or quietly working behind the scenes?
This is very tough question because I love both of them because they have their own specific quality.
Right.
But I'm a person who want to make an impact.
Right.
I'm starting to make an impact. Students in Ethiopia to get scholarship.
Right.
2 days back, I posted a video about scholarships and I got like more than 90,000 views. I think 90,000 views. So I'm kind of trying to make an impact at a whole scale. So I think I want to lead at the front.
Right.
If I have to choose one, if I have no choice like C, either to choose from A or B, I kind of choose to lead at the front.
Lead at the front.
Yeah.
And I think that is impressive. I mean, leaders. I mean, as a leader, you need to be able to lead from the front. And
Yes.
from the beginning. This question is actually a very tricky.
I like them both, but
If
you
you
say
a-
you have to choose one.
Yes, if you ask me to choose one, it will be
Yeah.
hard for me to even choose because
Yeah.
I like to also lead from the front rarely.
Yeah.
But then I also like to work silently from the back. I really love the background works. But then again, when it's really important that I lead from the front, yes, I never shy away from that. And then speaking of the fact that you had a video that had about 90,000 views, I think that means there is a demand.
There is a demand.
That I
Thank
think you should really look into it and take that as a message or a task or assignments to do because and as it sounds, a lot of people back home who really want to come here in school, not just in America but then in Europe and in the rest of the world. You know, and there's a huge information gap.
Of course.
A huge information gap.
course.
I'm even trying because I'm talking to someone who I'm even trying to get on this show to also come and talk to us about how to go through the scholarship route.
Yeah.
How to get scholarships, how to apply for scholarships, what kind of schools are good for what, and all of that. So maybe in the subsequent interviews, we are going to bring that. So, but I think in the meantime, you really should address that because it's all about impact as well.
Yeah, it's all about impact.
You can build an impact in that area and then build an impact also in the healthcare sector as well.
Of course.
Right.
I definitely should do that because not only I'm also trying to save their money because they are paying unnecessary money for agencies, a lot of money, while they can apply sitting in their home, opening their desktop or computer, and the application steps are quite easy.
Yeah.
So I think I should keep influencing the younger generation in Ethiopia as well as in Africa.
Yeah, it's true because a lot of people would rather pay money.
Yes.
When the information is right on their
Everything
lap.
at the front. Yes. That's
That
what
is-
I'm trying to fight.
That is good. I mean, I wish you all the best in that as well.
Thank you.
Now, this is the last question, and then we end the conversation.
Yeah.
And I cannot end the conversation without asking you this.
All right.
What is your one best piece of a brotherly advice you give to anyone watching us who is looking to find their purpose? Now, your camera is right here. You can look into that and then talk to them directly.
All right. So I believe the posture of growth doesn't have an expiration date. You should always look into opportunities, dig whatever sources you can, keep forward. Even if you can't run, you have to walk. Even if you can't walk, you have to keep crawling. So you have to always should look forward and achieve your dreams. So I believe that you have the potential inside you. You have the potential, the power, and the ability to achieve your tasks. So bring the inner potential, the inner strengths from you and achieve your dreams. And finally, trust my words, you can achieve your goals.
That is really beautiful.
Yeah.
that is like that kind of advice that hits you. I'm like, yes,
yes.
I think this is what I needed to hear.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
so much. It's been a really impactful and insightful, educative conversation that we had. I've really enjoyed this. I think this is one of my best conversations I've had.
Thank you. I really
so
enjoyed
far.
that too.
Yes, and I hope a lot of people watching us home would also enjoy this conversation as much as we have. Maybe people from this episode, I'll get a lot of Ethiopians also joining the Brotherly Advice podcast. Definitely. Subscribe and then also hear what a son of home has to offer. Before we go, I have a lineup of books here that I want to gift one to you. Okay. These are really good books, and if there's any that you have an interest in, you can pick it, and then you can have that.
Okay, I think I should pick the 48 Laws of Power.
Yes.
Oh, being powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That 48 Laws of Power is like, it's such a beautiful book.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell people that this is not the book that you just read and put it aside. It's like you read it as a manual.
Of course.
Every now and then you just go and pick one law and then you read.
Yeah.
And then it tells you, I mean, I'm not even going to, no spoiler alert, I'm just going to let you read it.
Yeah,
I have read this book and I love it. It's one of the top selling books of Robert Greene, and I'm sure you're really going to love it. It is just an appreciation of your time coming to the Brotherly Advice podcast and making this episode a very exceptional one. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your experience, sharing your journey with us and opening up in the best way you can. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so family, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. I'm sure you enjoyed the episode as much as we did. If you really enjoyed this episode, subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts on this video. It's the best way to support this channel, and it's the best way that we grow as well. Kindly share this video with a brother or a sister who needs to see this. My name remains Brandeis University. This is just a brotherly advice, and I'm only looking out for you.